Hey everyone, and welcome to Screams After Midnight. I am Peter, and joining me as always on this festive edition is Tim.
Fa la 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 la. What can we say other than Christmas time is here again?
La 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 ba la 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 ba la la la. Yes, it is once again December, which means we have got Christmas horror movies planned until, of course, Christmas itself, and we have some fun ones, hopefully. But because there's a new Black Christmas coming out, in a couple of weeks' time, or 1 week's time, whatever, I don't know. We're recording this a little bit early, so I don't know what the exact time frame is yet. But we need to go back and fill in the blank because we did the original Black Christmas a few years ago on December something, and we had never got around to doing the 2006 remake, which is what we're going to talk about today. So, yeah, that's going to be fun. So we'll start spoiler free as we always do. We'll give you a warning before we go into spoilers, and we'll go from there. So, what, like the original, Black Christmas 2006 is set in a sorority house, and we have a bunch of 20-year-old-ish ladies as the main characters. Unlike the original, though, it's all set kind of in one night, and there's kind of a more of a typical sort of slasher body count kind of mounting throughout the night, as opposed to the original. The phone calls from the original, where the killer would call in and leave obscene messages, those are kind of there, but they're a little bit different compared to the original. They're not quite. They're not quite as like straight up harassment in this one. They're more just like leaving weird messages for the killer's own sake. Does that make sense? So that's going on. Murders are happening, and the characters are sort of eventually realizing that bad stuff's happening, and there's some flashbacks to stuff, and we'll talk about all that glorious stuff, mostly in spoilers, I imagine, because it's all spoiler territory. But so Tim, had you seen this before? Actually, before I asked the main question, was this the first?
No, I had seen it before. I think I only saw it once, like when it first came out. I don't know if I saw it in theaters. I just rented it when it was on DVD. But at the time, I kind of remembered, not thinking it was that bad. And then I rewatched it yesterday, and I gotta say, I was kind of pleasantly surprised. I wouldn't say it's necessarily a good movie, but I actually did have a lot of fun with this. It sure ain't the original, by a very wide margin. Like you said, they had the phone call, like all the stuff that harkens back to the original feels very surface level. Like it's like, yeah, we're gonna have phone calls and that sort of thing. But it does feel very different. And it feels like they're trying to build more of a mythology, with like the character and stuff. And I wouldn't say it's a good movie, but I think it's actually a pretty fun, like, little B movie. I was like surprised by and super like messed up. I was actually surprised by like a lot of the kills and the gore in it. I was like, oh wow, this isn't like a PG-13 kind of typical teen slasher movie that I feel like we're getting a lot of at the time. I was like, oh, this is like really gory and stuff. So yeah, I actually kind of liked it.
Oh boy. Where do I begin? This movie's trash. It feels like trash. It plays like trash. The whole thing is trash. A number of reasons. I was actually mildly hopeful that I was going to get what you just described, which was a fun B movie that just happened. Set in Christmas, there's a killer going around. They're all in a house in one night. I love a good bottle movie. I love a one night horror setting. I love it. This movie is a goddamn mess. The direction is like so over the top. There's so many Dutch angles. There's so many of these weird extreme close-ups, and also a lot of high angle shots looking down, which is very convenient in a movie like this, where you've got all these young attractive actresses. All these angle shots where you can clearly see all the cleavages very convenient that that's just happens to be a side effect of the artistic merit of these high angle shots looking down at them. Continue, Tim.
Oh no, I actually kind of liked
The cleavage. You like the cleavage, yes.
No. Come on.
You don't like cleavage? What have you got against cleavage?
I abhor it. Cleavage is fine. Have as much as you want. I don't care. It's something I clearly wasn't noticing as much as you, though. But no, I actually think like there was like some interesting like direction in this. I thought it was like at least whether or not it's successful. I think it was at least trying to be more stylistic than like other movies. And I liked it's a pretty simple thing, but like I like the way it looked like with the colors. Like there's a lot of constant like red and green glowing lights, which like felt very Christmassy, and it's a small simple thing to do, but I actually thought that was kind of cool and actually made it a little more interesting to look at versus like other stuff that just feels a little bit more generic. I will agree with you, at least plot wise. Mm-hmm. This movie is kind of a mess. Like, oh boy, it goes
places,
different places than I was not expecting. But again, like in terms of like a B-list kind of cheesy movie, I kind of like that it is so crazy.
All right, can I just first of all rewind for a second here? Your first compliment for this film that I just heard was that the Christmas film set at Christmas happens to have Christmas things in the background. That was your first compliment there to the film.
But you know what I mean? Like a lot of the times it kind of influences like the lighting and stuff. Like there's a lot of like green and red like tinted scenes like that I thought like looked cool. I don't know. And at least it put me in the Christmas mood.
This movie's terrible. I like the kills are mostly garbage, and like it does.
Oh, I disagree. I think the kills are like so fun.
No, they're so fast, and you don't have you don't have a chance to take any of them in. Like the first kill in the movies is just what just happened? Was a kill? What? Let me process it for a minute, movie. God damn it! Like and like. It did eventually get more violent and gruesome, but there was for the first few kills, I was actually thinking to myself that this isn't PG-13 because there's too many F-bombs, but it might as well be because the kills are operating under the PG-13 kind of aesthetic. Now, admittedly, that changed as the movie went on, and there was some like eyeball stuff that was like, okay, right, it's getting a bit more gruesome now, whatever, fine. I didn't like how it was shot. I didn't think the pacing was there. I thought the pacing was all wrong for any type of suspense. The characters were all two-dimensional and annoying. I can barely tell you how each of them died individually. They were all so just... And this is when I know like 3 of the actresses from various things. I mean, Katie Cassidy from Arrow was in this. Black Canary, she's like the main girl. Mary Elizabeth Winstead, who everyone knows and loves, she's in here as well. This is when she was still playing, college-age people. And then we have Michelle Trachtenberg, who I kept thinking to myself, what was she in? What was she in? And then it dawned on me.
Oh,
she was in the hit television show Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
That's right, season 5.
That was quality.
Which is what I'm currently on.
Yeah, and 6 and 7.
Almost to the end.
Yeah. Season 5 is really good. Season 5 may be the best season. It's close.
Interesting. Okay.
Seasons 2, 3, and 5 are your 3 seasons that you're fighting for best.
But see, well, I mean, my problem with season 5 is that I don't really like Glory that much. Like, there's good episodes in season 5. I think that's when Spike is really coming into his own. Sure, but and I'm not like I don't hate Dawn. I think like a lot of people are like, whatever, like, she's fine. But I don't know. I don't like the big bad of season 5. I think that's my big complaint.
I like the big bad in season 5, but as we've clearly established with this movie, your taste is not to be trusted. So I didn't like how it was shot. I thought the editing was all over the place when the kills were happening. It took me out of it. I thought the tone of the movie was kind of weird. Like I felt like sometimes it wanted to be more of a horror comedy with the way it would like have like a sting in the music, or there's a scene where they think someone might be dead, but then like they walk in, like she's just like lying there snoring, and the music as well made it feel like a sort of comedy beat, and I was like, this just feels weird. It feels like it wants to be like this light-hearted horror movie, and I don't think it really calls for light-hearted given what the backstory is. Which, by the way, the original Black Christmas the whole thing with Billy the Killer is that you never even see him, you never know where he's from or who he is. He's complete mystery, and it adds to kind of the creepiness of the movie. This movie, there's a series of flashbacks detailing every single step of his childhood and life, and that life is over the top as shit.
I don't know. Again, though, I like that because I think it was pretty funny. I don't know how serious this movie is taking it. Like, I really didn't feel like it ever was that. And then if it was like being overly dramatic or something, it was kind of, at least to me, it seemed pretty funny. I was laughing a lot during this.
I was not doing a lot of laughing. I was mostly just kind of bored, and I thought it got worse as it went.
Oh, I mean, I can see if you don't like it. I think bored, then that's kind of crazy because there's so much like weird, crazy shit going on. I definitely never found it boring at all.
I don't know. I don't know what to tell you, Tim. It's trash. It's 90 minutes of endless trash.
Yeah, but what's so bad about trash? Sometimes trash is fun. Sometimes you want a little trash. Especially, I think, with Christmas movies, the trashier they are, the funnier they are.
I don't know. I don't feel the charm in this one. It feels like a really mid-2000s remake of a horror movie. You know? It has that feeling to it. Where we're going to give all this backstory to the killer just because we want to fill it with backstory. Like, I don't know. It just, the whole thing was.
I mean, I think the difference between something like Halloween or Texas, franchises like that, where you have a much more of, a connection or whatever to the killer of the franchise. With Black Christmas, again, definitely a great movie, but like, it's just one movie. I like it, but I don't necessarily have like a deep emotional connection to it. So, seeing something like this, and again, like, this is also one movie. It's not like this became a franchise and overpowered the original. Then that might be kind of weird. But just seeing as like this kind of one and done thing and like all the crazy choices they make, like, it's I don't know. I have more fun with it than like something versus like a the Texas reboot or Nightmare reboot or something like that, or certainly better than the Halloween remake.
Remake? I mean, reboot? Oh,
reboot, remake, whatever.
Rob Zombie? Are we talking Rob Zombie or 2018?
Yes.
Okay, Rob Zombie.
No, Rob Zombie.
Right, okay. Oh yeah, it's better than that. But I mean, no, the whole bar, Tim. Come on. I just like, I'm honestly mad at it for ruining. This is not like Halloween from Rob Zombie where I'm like, oh my god, you ruined everything. I mean, I did kind of roll my eyes when I was like, oh wait, we're getting like flashbacks, right? It wasn't so much that we were getting flashbacks. It's that how terrible the flashbacks are, how overacted they are, how they almost feel like really bad Twilight Zone episodes. The flashbacks to me, and it really took me out of it. And I don't know, the kills just not that interesting. I wasn't even having fun with the slashery parts.
I don't know. I disagree with you there. I thought they were fun.
All right, well, let's give the spoiler warning. Full spoilers for Black Christmas 2006. I'll take this opportunity to thank our Patreon producers for the month of... Well, this is technically November's list because I can't predict the future and know who's still here in December. But so as of November, thank you to David Short, Alison M. Fordice. I was corrected recently on a stream, and I'm trying to make sure I'm saying it properly. Alison Fordice, Cindy Palacios, Tyler Hess, and Talking Superman. Thank you to you guys.
Thank you.
Patreon producers are $20 and up patrons. You can do that, of course, yourself, but you don't have to. You can support us for as little as $1 per month over at patreon.com/MailFuzzTV, and every month you'll get an exclusive extra episode of Streams After Midnight. You actually get a few exclusives from other shows we do as well, but if you're a Streams fan specifically, that $1 will get you one bonus exclusive episode. There's a whole back catalogue of them now that you'll have access to, and yeah, so do that. And this month it will be a Christmas movie, so...
I mean, it's like, listen, if you've been bad all year and you need to score some last minute points with Santa, why not do a good deed and just throw just one shilling our way, and that's all we ask for.
You're making me think of the scene in this where the Santa's at the hospital. He's walking past, and the nurse is like, "Oh, if I sit in your lap, Santa, will I get what I want?"
I think it is so funny. Yeah, I was watching this with my wife, of course, and yeah, I think I said something like I was like, who just like flirts like that? And then my wife was like, well, who flirts like that with Santa? Like, come on, like it's like it's not even like a like hunky buff Santa. It's like it just seems like this really like schlubby, like froppy kind of Santa with this like weirdly hot nurse for an insane asylum.
I like the idea that one day Tim is going to like shock us, and when he said, "I was watching this with," instead of saying my wife, he'll just say, "I don't know, my mistress." And I'm like, Tim, you really want to say that on the show?
My wife doesn't listen to the show. She won't find out.
Oh, all right, prove it. What you get her for Christmas? If you feel that confident, spill a secret.
We're too far out. I don't even know yet. I haven't thought about it enough.
That's fair.
But, I mean, also she could hear me in the other room too, so I'm not gonna do that. I think the big question is, what are you gonna get me for Christmas? I think.
Oh, I've got something in mind, Tim. I've got something in mind. I am going to purchase a signed copy of Goatman Midnight Delivery, and then I am going to sign it myself and send it back to you. So you can have a complete Scream set of signatures on your Goatman.
I mean, I would never deign that for Goatman, but if we do ever release a Screams comic book, that would be something that we could do.
That would be pretty funny, actually. Yeah.
Someone let us know if that would be something you're interested in. I don't know what the hell it would be. If it'd be like us reviewing a movie in comic book form. Is anyone interested in that? I don't know.
Oh dear. I feel like a more palpable career plan might be like commentary tracks or something like that, or
Sure.
Something that's kind of similar to what we do. Like we can sign the DVD of the commentary track.
I just don't think. I just think you don't want to see how I would draw you.
I really don't. I really don't. Have you ever drawn yourself?
I actually did in one issue of Goatman, and it's not good.
You gave yourself a cameo, you egotistical maniac.
Actually, twice, and I think in issue 5 and issue 11. It makes sense for the story. Come on.
Does it? Is it good? Does it get meta? Does it get all Stephen King Dark Tower on us?
Maybe. I mean, no one. I mean, come on. And everyone loves it when Grant Morrison does it, but Tim Bargulish can't do
it. Oh dear. Oh yeah. Oh jeez. Okay, I'm going to take a drink. Yeah.
I mean, I don't even know. It's a weird medical condition.
Well, I have to drink. Yes, it's a medical condition. It's called needing H2O to survive. It's pretty common in time. Most people have it. I love how he took a drink of his own water like a second after he made that joke. So the movie. Let's talk about the flashbacks. The flashbacks are what I talk about first, and spoilers. So we get like the birth of Billy, of baby Billy.
Baby Billy. I kept saying that too.
Not to be confused with the Rachel Gemstones, Baby Billy. I've got that song from Rachel Gemstones stuck in my head. Misbehaving. So, and he's yellow. He's got a condition, which is a real condition, I'm sure, where your skin kind of turns like a proper yellow color. But he's like properly
that yellow bastard.
Yeah, he's properly caked out in like yellow makeup, and like the whole idea is that his mother hates him because he's not the perfect child that she wanted and she dreamed of for years. And
I am interested if this came out before Sin City or after, because it feels
after.
like such a Sin City thing.
It's 1 year. It's 1 year after. Since it was 2005, I believe. So Then he's kind of like treated like a little shit. His mother's not even getting presents. His dad does sneak him a Christmas present, but that night, unfortunately, his mother and her lover sneak in and kill their dad via suffocation, kind of like how Billy's going to end up killing people.
Yeah,
and
hey,
yeah,
that'd make me not like Christmas too.
Mm-hmm.
I guess he loves Christmas actually. So.
I think that was the end of the first flashback. The second flashback, though, was where it gets really so because he witnessed the murder. They just keep Billy in the attic, which sets up why he's always in the attic. Because there's got to be a reason why he's always in the attic. It can't be just a mystery or anything like that. And we get a scene where the mom's trying to conceive with her lover, with the new husband or whatever you want to call him, and he just kind of falls asleep mid-sex, and this would be like whatever on its own, but she sort of sighs and goes, "Again, every damn time."
Yeah.
And I'm like, what? This isn't like when I looked at Wikipedia, it described him as impotent, and I was like, I don't know, I would describe this as narcolepsy, not impotent, like falling asleep in the middle of sex. So she then gets this idea. She goes up to the attic where her son is, where baby Billy is, who's now like 12 or something like that. And you don't see any of it, but it implies as the scene ends that she's going to rape him so she can conceive. And then when we get to the next flashback, we find out that this was successful and that she has a daughter called Agnes, which is both Billy's sister and daughter, because that's what you did. So you liked the shenanigans, Tim. You liked all this part.
I mean, like is like a weird way to describe it, but like
you were so into it. You loved it.
I think if you're gonna have like a funny, trashy B movie, I say why not go all out? And yeah, the idea that we're having two characters and they're like inbred incest, like again, it's not like I was like, yeah, this is cool, but I was like, wow, this movie is like so wild and going for it that I'm entertained by it.
There's also scenes early on an insane asylum where the guard kind of describes Billy to like the Santa or whoever who's walking around, and it sets up that he's still it sets up, and we get like a couple of scenes where he's breaking out. That the Santa who flirts with the nurse gets killed, and he escapes in his Santa suit. But there's already a couple of murders that have happened. So one of two things are going on. Either it was set before the rest of the movie, these scenes in the asylum, which is kind of weird because it didn't really indicate that. Or the obvious thing, which the movie tries to play off as a twist later, is that Agnes, the sister/daughter, is the actual killer in the house, and there's two killers. They're both crazy killers.
Well, I mean, you say obvious, but it's not like we even knew that Agnes existed until like later on. I think once you find that out, then it's
okay. I'll rephrase. As soon as the baby happens in the flashback, so okay, well that's the killer in the house. That's who it is. Especially since we see like that Billy has short hair in one moment, and then in the house we see whoever's killing everyone's got long hair. It's like, okay, right. It's Agnes, it's the sister. Okay. There's two killers in this one. Whoop did we can do?
All right, I mean, I think it's interesting.
Yeah, I mean, I'll be honest, I'm going to have a hard time like going through the rest of it because a lot of it just blurs together. It's so much of the first half of this movie is like the same three characters sitting around the fireplace just complaining about things. There's the it girl who I think the actress is from Mean Girls, and she's doing whatever. There's one who's just getting drunk. Mary Elizabeth Winstead just looks worried about everything. Like she's worried that they've got pagan things up because that's weird, and it's like, well, no, a lot of Christmas stuff is pagan actually. It's whatever.
Yeah, she's like a weird wet blanket. It's basically it kind of feels like there's two movies, which is like all the stuff with like the sorority house, and it almost feels like they're trying to solve like a mystery or something. Like, they're constantly like finding something out or getting a cell phone or hearing a noise and then like going off and exploring, almost like a Scooby-Doo thing. Like oh, like we'll go explore this, and then this new character pops up, and then we find this out or whatever. And that stuff I didn't really find as entertaining.
Yeah, speaking of Scooby-Doo, there's a lot of shots where like everyone, because there's also the older woman who's like the den mother of the house.
Yeah.
There's a lot of shots where like everyone in the room will all look up because they hear a noise at the same time, and it's very Scooby-Doo. So they're all like, and the camera will be having a Dutch angle looking down at them all. It's no.
Yeah, but like you said, I feel like they try to give some personality to the characters, but there's like a lot of characters that is kind of like hard to follow. Like,
they have nothing. Like Katie Cassidy's thing, you know, Laurel from Arrow, who's like the main girl. She's got a boyfriend who, in the second scene we meet him in, we find out that he was having an affair with like the second victim who's already dead at this point, because the first victim's at the opening scene and he's just killed out of nowhere really quickly. It just felt like a waste of a kill scene. The second one is the one who was having an affair with him and has footage of the affair on the laptop. Although actually he claims later on that it wasn't an affair, it was before he started dating Laurel. He never really proves or disproves that. It doesn't really matter. Who gives a shit? Who cares? But this girl who was with the laptop, she gets upstairs to the attic and she also dies. And I think she's the first one where we get some eye popping, the killer's like popping the eyes out, and it's okay, whatever.
The eyes thing are so weird. I still don't really necessarily understand why, what the deal with the eyes are.
There's a middle-aged woman who the eyes, I think, is because it's a sister who lost an eye. So there's a lot of eye popping out themes.
But it was because
things.
he was the one that like took out her eye though, right? Because he attacked her.
Yes.
Yeah. So it's like, well, what like precipitated that?
Yeah, I mean, actually,
I guess you're saying Agatha, when she kills, takes out the eyes, because that's what was done to her.
Agnes. But that is true. I mean, it's not really clear if they're in cahoots necessarily. Like they're working kind of independently, but the flashbacks, we forgot to mention, they end with him killing his parents or his mother and the boyfriend or whoever, pretty violently. Which was in this house. That's the thing. This sorority house used to be his house as a kid. Which I don't know about anyone else, but I'd feel weird moving into a place where a kid murdered his parents. Like, I don't know. It feels a bit of a morbid place to move into.
Yeah.
The only other really plot stuff that happens with the characters, outside of them wondering where some of the characters have disappeared to, like they set up this kind of weird nerdy girl who like gives I think it's Winstead gets like the unicorn, which is the one thing they brought back from the original movie, because there was a unicorn like ornament in that. Like I felt like they were saying, I thought there was going to be a twist where she was related to the killer because she was acting so weird, but no, we never see her again. We just find her decapitated head later on, and it's like, okay, fair enough, she's just dead. But there's like an older sister character who shows up. The first victim's older sister shows up, and she's like, you know, good 12 or so years older. She's, you know, in her like 30s, maybe even approaching 40, and she's like wanting to find her sister. And what I thought was really weird is that even once they realize there's people dying, she says something like, "Oh, we're not leaving until, you know, I've convinced my sister's, you know, alive or dead." And when someone says, "Okay, we're going to go up to the attic and like see if anyone's there because we hear people. If we confirm they're dead, we're going to turn right around and just leave, right?" And she's like, "Yeah, sure." And I'm like, "Yeah, sure." Where's the emotion? Where's the worry that your sister's dead? I don't know. It was, I don't know. None of it played for me, Tim. None of it played for me.
Now they all do have cell phones in this, like they're older, early type cell phones and stuff. But at any point, does anyone try to call 911?
Yeah, a couple of times.
Okay.
Yeah, if at one point Katie Cassidy gets through, and they're like, "Yeah, it'll be 2 hours. Like a tree fell down and the snow's bad."
Oh, okay.
That was a couple of times, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, because I don't know, like I must have missed it or not paid attention. So, because I kept wondering, like, why are they all like exploring and doing all this stuff by themselves? Like, why not like wait for the cops to come?
On this subject, I do think it's kind of weird how much things have changed since 2006. This is 13 years ago, which both feels like a long time and no time at all. But it's kind of weird, just like there's no smartphones yet. I'm like, oh yeah, it was another couple of years before they started filtering in. And even then, it was probably 2010, 2011 before everyone had one.
Those phones, like they feel pretty ancient. Although, like at the time, you probably would have been like, whoa, like this is awesome. But looking back now, it's like, geez, look at that. Yeah,
look at this thing.
At one point, she like texts someone, and it's just like 3 like lines. It's like some like, are you at symbol and then like question
In
mark or
fact,
whatever.
Do you know what made me feel really weird in a dated way? It was the footage of the sex tape that the girl Claire had of Kate Cassidy's boyfriend.
Yeah.
The media player for that looked like Windows Media Player from like the mid 2000s, and I felt like old. I was like, oh my god, I've not seen that in ages.
Oh, and yeah, we kind of skipped over it, but one like kill that I thought was pretty cool was, I think, yeah, in the last flashback when he's killing his parents, and like he makes like Christmas cookies out of like his mom's body, which like I actually thought that was like pretty cool. Like, you know, he takes a robe off or whatever and has like the angel cookie cutter and is taking like pieces of flesh out, and like, oh, it was like very gross. But like, you know, as a you know, for like a cheesy Christmas horror movie, like that's the kind of shit that I like seeing.
I mean, in a vacuum, sure. But at this point in the movie, it kind of lost me. All these flashbacks were shit, and then the characters, like, see if you're giving me likable characters just creeping about a house as a killer on the loose, it'd basically be a long version of that Tales from the Crypt episode. You know, the all through the house, like. Yeah, give me a feature-length version of that with a bunch of sorority girls that are likable enough. I could get into that.
Sure.
I don't think they're very likable though. They barely have characters. It's
Yeah, no, I mean, I'll agree with you on that part. There isn't really much that stands out about them. Like, yeah, I guess like Dawn seems kind of nice because she's helping out the drunk girl or whatever, and I guess the main character, I guess we like because she's the main character or whatever. But yeah, other than that, it's like, yeah, nothing is too.
Yeah, there's no reason to like
specific.
anyone. It's the only like. There was one or two times when Mary Elizabeth Winstead spoke where she had kind of a southern accent, and I was like, oh, that's interesting. And the only reference to it is when they're trying to leave, even though the weather's really bad. The Denmill's like, no, we're getting out of here. And she goes out to the car with Mary Elizabeth Winstead, and they sit in the car, and she hands her this brush, and Mary Elizabeth Winstead's like, what's this for? And she's like, are you serious? And she like gets out, and it's just for scraping the snow off the windscreen. But as she's doing it, she's like, oh, stupid and entitled, privileged southern bitch or something like that, she says. That gave me a minor chuckle, but that's her whole character. That is she's worried about things, and she comes from a rich family. That is her entire character.
It's also kind of weird. Like, I don't really know much about fraternities and sororities or something, but isn't part of the reason why you join one is because, you know, like, you're around like similar minded people, and you're all kind of like, you know, like get along and are friends and have similar interests. Like this, it feels like people are all over the place. Like, you know, you have someone's like an alcoholic, someone's just obsessed with their phone, and then someone is like a weird like religious person, and another was just like a weird nerd. It's like it seems like a very varied sorority.
Yeah, a group of misfits, you might say. Obviously, there's like a brief moment where they think the boyfriend who snuck in the house is maybe the killer, but that's like, it goes nowhere because it's very quickly there's other killings, and it's like, nah, it couldn't be him because this, and this. You know, the one girl gets killed outside. In fact, the girl gets killed. It's Denmark gets killed outside.
The icicle.
She gets the icicle kill. It's basically the blood diner kill with the rock. But with an icicle this time, where it just falls on her head. The killer just gets lucky, and the icicle lands on her head. Because Mary Elizabeth Winstead's death's really kind of shit. She just got like you don't really see anything. You see like blood splatter the windscreen from inside the car. There's not really much to it. There's a few deaths like that where you don't really see much. It's just kind of a quick thing, and it's like, oh, okay, I guess they're dead now.
Yeah, I like the kind of the ones that are more like up close, and like when you see like the scenes of him, like, or I guess maybe her when she's like pulling like eyeballs out of their sockets, like that's the kind of shit that I like. That felt like very like brutal and gross and everything.
I like it. The one kind of creepy moment I kind of liked is when she's actually popping up like the tiles in the bathroom, and she's like looking through these little tile holes. The eye just sort of looking through that looked kind of creepy. So I'll give a little bit of credit where a little bit is due.
And it is kind of just funny where it's like oh man, this person just seems like really comfortable, like living on the inside of the house. Like they can just kind of like scurry about like anywhere under the floor, over the through the walls, whatever.
So much space in the floor in this movie. But like you said, the back half of the movie is basically them just going around the house with flashlights, like they're in Scooby Doo, just being nervous and on their own. It's kind of like, to an extent, what I was criticizing. Remember that scene in Scream 3 where they're all together and they're all terrified of the killer?
Yeah,
it's like, why? You're all together, and like some of you are armed even. These characters aren't armed, admittedly, but like, I don't know, the way they're sort of sneaking around all together and they're like, oh, we should go up in the attic, and they do, and the boyfriend immediately gets killed. He gets pulled up and like, sacked with a bag over his head, and then that's basically it. He's dead. Bashed in the head as well, I think.
Yeah, like honestly, if everyone, I mean, I guess they have the whole thing where they're trying to find their friend. So I guess that's a little bit of the motivation. But I mean, really, they probably all would have been fine if they kind of just all sat in the living room, like maybe grab some type of weapon just in case someone comes down. But then, yeah, just wait for the police to show up.
Yeah, just back to back in the living room. Just all sit back to back in a circle.
Yeah.
With weapons.
And it's kind of funny because you kind of think that the movie is done at some point, but then there's like this whole like last little act in the hospital.
Well, it had to be because they set up that Billy left the asylum and he never showed up. The only killer in the house the whole movie was Agnes.
Yeah. Wait, no, because Billy shows up in the attic at some point. Because like they both remember like she's stuck in the wall and they have like both of them are like crawling like up at her from like one side to the other. And
okay, yeah, right, you're right. Okay, he showed up at the house eventually. You're right.
And like right at the end, that last little part.
Yeah.
That's what she says something like your brother your brother's not here or whatever, and she's like, no, my daddy is.
Quality line there, quality line.
And I think there's like some like they're like the whole reason why they're doing this. I think it's when maybe I think the boyfriend is like telling the flashback or something. He says like, oh, like that's like Billy thought that's how you show love, like because he sees his mother kill whatever, the dad in the beginning, and I guess you're supposed to think that he just registers that as like, oh, that's how you show love or whatever. So then that's what eventually he does to his mom and stuff.
And it shows how little the phone calls matter in this, because it's just it's just these answering machine like messages that are left, and they're just like saying, oh, he belongs in my family now, she belongs in my family now, and some other nonsense that makes very little sense. The hospital stuff at the end, because the only survivors from the house because there is this ridiculous over the top bit where even like they're inside the walls and like Kate Cass has to crawl through the hole, and it's a whole thing, but they end up accidentally setting fire on their way out, and the only two survivors are Kate Cassidy and the older sister, Claire's older sister. Claire's older sister, though, however, dies at the hospital. She gets her neck snapped by was it Agnes that snapped her neck, or was it Billy?
I think it was Agnes.
It was Agnes, yeah. But Agnes gets defibrillated in the head, I think. That's how she dies. And then Kate Cassidy's on the run. And what I thought was weird here is that Billy's chasing Kate Cassidy through a hallway in a hospital. And I
know what you're going to say.
She runs past like three people, like three doctors and some nurses or whoever. And this guy just keeps following her. And at no point do they think, I wonder if we should intervene or try and like catch that patient who's like running away erratically.
Well, yeah. Yeah, 'cause she like knocks over a bunch of like medical supplies, and the guy's kind of like, "Hey, what you doing?" But like, instead of stopping the weird demented guy that's like chasing this woman, he kind of just seems to be like annoyed that all this stuff fell over, which I thought was funny. But I think my big question though is, I think they both wake up in the morgue, so. Did people just think that they were dead, Billy and Agnes? Like,
I guess so. Did they play dead? Like, how do you how do you trick the coroner exactly? Like,
yeah, like you think they would have, like done stuff like checked heart rates and like made sure that it seems very suspicious that they would, maybe if you make one mistake, fine, but like two seems like a little much. And then again, I like that, they're just two people that are comfortable, like moving around the insides of buildings because like Billy comes through like the panel of the hospital into, the the woman's room or whatever. So it's like
I think I figured out why you like this so much. What other movie could we think of where the killer is hiding in the walls and coming out through panels?
I couldn't even tell you. That's a such an original concept. I don't know if any other movie has duplicated that.
Oh yeah. Let's just say Brahms is guilty as charged.
But this is a different take on it for sure. The idea of the killer living inside. Which have you heard about that new M. Night Shyamalan
Servant?
Apple?
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I feel like the creators of The Boy have a case for that. That is very boy-like. Which means
me and Connor are going to be looking at the first episode this week, so we'll see. Or in fact, by the time this goes up, we'll already have done it. So we'll check out a review.
Interesting. Okay. I would watch it if I knew how the hell to.
Apple Plus.
I don't know what that is.
Apple Plus, baby. Apple Plus.
Do I need a computer for that? Like,
not necessarily. I think there's an app for Fire Stick, Amazon Fire Sticks. If you got one of those.
No.
Or if you got an Apple TV, obviously.
Where if you do have an Apple TV, I don't have it set up yet though. But I don't know. All these things are confusing. But of course, you got to talk about Billy's death here. Come on.
Oh yeah, it's so convenient that the big tree at the bottom of the staircase happens to have a big pointy, topper on it. This big pointy, sharp topper, because Cassidy is able to just luckily kind of reverse his momentum and throw him over the stairs. He goes down this big flight of stairs and lands on top of the tree. And then for the third or fourth time in the movie, we hear dun 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 dun. And the credits roll. That's it. And the movie's over. Mercifully.
Is that a complaint for you that the whole Christmas movie has Christmas music in it?
No, I just overused that one a little bit. I don't mind the Christmas music in general.
I thought it fit the scene perfectly.
I bet you did. Yeah, so this was a prequel to The Boy. This was a spiritual prequel to The Boy in a number of ways. No wonder Tim liked it. That's all I'm saying.
Hell yeah. I don't know. It's like, I'm not going to try to say it's necessarily a good movie, but I had fun when I watched it. I think it's so crazy and over the top that I think there is fun to be had if you like cheesy movies. And I'll agree. The characters are flat. Maybe it could have been more interesting if he gave a little more personality, or but I do like the kills. There's some that you don't really see enough of that would have been more fun, but there's other ones that are cool with putting the bag over the head, stabbing someone with a sharpened candy cane, and dragging people away in Christmas lights, icicles going through the head, falling through a Christmas tree. There's fun Christmas kills in this.
There's a couple of decent ones. The tree at the end will give you, the icicle will give you. Some of the other ones they're just shot so quick and blinking you'll miss it, that I feel like the impact is lost. But
that's fair. Yeah, it could have been better, but at least I at least had fun. Which what else do you want this holiday season? Come on.
Okay, well, what do you rate it then, Tim? Put us out of our misery.
Well, I think I must have been a good little boy this year, because Santa came and gifted me with this movie that I would say is not a chunk of coal, but rather a nice little present that I unwrapped last night. Much to much to the chagrin of old Saint Nick himself, who probably would have wanted me to wait until December 25th to watch it, but I simply could not wait because I just had to get my present and unwrap it as early as possible because I knew that I was, such a good little boy all year that I've, dutifully watched.
Oh, get to the effing point, Tim.
I think I'll give it a 6.5. I think it's a
5.
It's a cheesy mess, but it's a really fun one, especially if you want like a Christmas horror movie that doesn't really take itself seriously, but it feels trashy and sleazy, but in a good entertaining way. Watch it with some friends, have a few drinks. Hey, maybe have yourself a couple of eggnogs. Why not? Get in the spirit. And I mean, don't compare it to the original at all. They're two very different beasts for sure. If you want like a legitimately good crafted movie, then go watch the original. But if you just want a fun cheesy mess, I think this works. It fits.
So 4 out of 10. All right. So that'll wrap up our Black Christmas discussion here on Screams After Midnight, the first of our Christmas episodes. We got a few coming your way. The vote for this month was a Christmas vote, so we were recording this in advance, so I don't know what the winner is yet, but that's coming. We also have the new Black Christmas that's coming out, the new Blumhouse sort of reboot of it, which it looks like a very different film indeed. So that's going to be coming soon in the next couple of weeks. We have at least one other Christmas film on top of those as well. So that's what vote for Black Christmas, another one. So there's 3, and then there's also the exclusive Patreon episode, which will also be a Christmas movie. So in total, that's 4 Christmas horror movies after this one this year. So we're making up for the fact that I think we only did like 2 last year, because for some reason last year we were slacking at Christmas, and I don't know why. But this year, it's all Christmas all the time, baby, until New Year's, and then New Year's. In fact, no. Do you know what's coming at the end of the year, Tim?
I don't know.
Our top 50 horror movies of the decade, because we're at the end of the decade.
Cool.
I've already started working on mine, like a good little boy. So.
Well, that reminds me of one movie that'll be on the list.
Oh, you're going to have that far too high, Tim. I already know it. I don't even have to think about it. I can tell you right now it's not going to be on my list at all, but that's okay. So, yes, look forward to all that content. You can let us know what you thought of Black Christmas 2006 in the comments below. Like and subscribe. Ding the bell on YouTube to make sure you get notifications. You can, of course...
Ding the sleigh bell.
You can support us by rating the podcast on Apple Podcasts. Give us 5 stars and a review. Helps when people find us. It's a really good way of supporting us and helping us. Obviously sharing us out on Twitter or Facebook. If you want to support us financially though and get some bonuses for your trouble, you can do patreon.com/MailFuzzTV and support us with as $1 per month, which I did say in the middle. Otherwise, look out for other content coming from MailFuzz TV. Of course, we have the science fiction movie podcast, The Atomic Cinema Experiment, that I do with Tara. That comes out every week, so check that out. Me, Matt, and Connor do the DC Comics podcast, Comics from the Multiverse, so check that out if you're interested in comic books. But otherwise, that is us. So, thank you for watching or listening. We always appreciate it. Keep watching scary movies, guys. Merry Christmas, and we will see you next time.